The following presentation is brought to you by the Realm Network.
With Sarah and my co-host Scott.
Hello.
And my guest today is known as the Justin Bieber of professional wrestling. Name's Dylan Bostic. He had a stint in the Ohio Valley Wrestling, and he also matched against Ryback in WWE. Dylan, how are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. A little tired from a 10-hour drive, but I'm going to hang in there, you know?
You're actually in Boston tonight, right?
Yeah, I'm in Lawrence, Massachusetts tonight for Chaotic Wrestling.
Is this your first time being in Boston?
Yeah, I've actually, I don't think I've ever been in Massachusetts at all, actually, surprisingly.
Oh,
but
really?
Yeah, this is my first night. Yeah.
How do you like it?
Honestly, I haven't left the house because I got in about 3 o'clock this morning and fell asleep and just woke up for the interview.
I'm going to let Scott ask the first question. Okay, Scott?
Okay, what is it like living in Boston, being in Boston? What do you think of it so far?
Is this your first time being in Boston?
Yeah, I've actually, I don't think I've ever been in Massachusetts at all, actually, surprisingly.
Oh,
but
really?
Yeah, this is my first night. Yeah.
How do you like it?
Being in Boston, what do you think of it so far?
You know, the area I'm in is pretty dirty, actually, which I was surprised. Some of the houses look, different than where I'm from or whatever, but being around a lot of places, it's just the norm for me. But I don't know. I haven't really got to get out too much yet, but hopefully before the show I'll get to explore a little bit today.
So, why are you known as the Justin Bieber of professional wrestling? Is it because you kind of look alike?
You know, I think it was like 5 years ago, I was at OVW, and the whole crowd one night just started chanting Justin Bieber. And at the time, I actually didn't know too much about Justin Bieber. I knew like a couple of his songs or whatever, and obviously I knew him because he's like the most popular person in the world. But I'm like, I don't understand this. So I looked into Justin Bieber, and I'm like, okay, I guess I can see the cocky, arrogant attitude he has, and the way he looks and how young he is, and this and that. But then I started noticing, man, this guy has such a strong following. I was like, I need to use this and take the ball and run with it because this is something that I could gain a following off of. So then I started following some of his fans, and I started gaining a following off of that and tagging Justin Bieber and things, and using the hashtag the Justin Bieber of pro wrestling, stuff like that. And then actually his family started following me and putting over my wrestling stuff, and actually my merchandise too. And then he actually started following me and started putting me over on Twitter a little bit. So that's actually how I gained a lot of a following, pretty much.
Have you met any of his family yet?
Not in person. Just talked to him through online stuff. His brother and sister's mom was actually supposed to come to a couple of shows in Toronto, but just things didn't work out or whatever, which in Toronto I have nuclear heat, which I was really surprised because him being from Ontario, I thought, I don't know if it's going to get heat. I think they're going to end up just liking me, but that was not the case. But because of that reason, I'm like, man, I don't know if they would really like coming and getting booted out of the building.
What about like any free concert tickets to Justin's show?
It's funny. The other day, probably about 2 or 3 months ago, his Purpose World Tour Twitter account just direct messaged me out of nowhere and was like, "Hey, we just want to know, we wanted to let you know that we really support you, and we'll be contacting you soon about some events and stuff." And I'm like, "Okay, awesome," but I have yet to hear from that. But I'm going to try to reach out to his manager, Scooter, about the July show, because I'm actually not in anywhere the date that he's going to be in Pittsburgh, so it'd be easy for me to drive down there. So I'd really like to meet him and get a picture with him, because I think it'd be good publicity for my wrestling career. But yeah, so hopefully something will happen that way.
Scott, do you have a question?
Yeah. You what's it like wrestling? What's it like to you? What was your first experience doing it?
I started training when I was 10 years old, so obviously I was, so in awe of everything, and so nervous and shy at first. And my first wrestling match was in front of about 350 people, and I was 15 years old, so that was actually 9 years ago next month. But I remember that day like it was yesterday. And just that little experience of the very first time walking out to a ring is something that you'll never experience multiple times in your life. Like it was a really good experience for me. I'll never forget it.
One of your fans actually tweeted me an interesting question, and they actually wanted to know, how big is your wiener? Do you want to discuss that?
Yeah, I saw that. That was my favorite question, actually. I was like, do I like this tweet or do I not put it over? I'm like, that's like a really strange question. I've never measured.
We're gonna teach you how to measure a penis.
But my fiance Ray Lynn, she has a nickname for it. It's called Fat Dylan. So I don't know. I guess it's pretty thick, I guess.
Scott, what do you call that?
That was a weird question.
Do you think he's lying?
I don't know. I usually don't get involved when it comes to stuff like that.
Scott, how big is your wiener?
I don't think I need to.
Come on.
Come on, don't be shy, man. Come on.
I don't know.
Wait, he had his hand up like 5. Is that 5 for 5 inches?
I guess. I don't know.
It's bigger than I thought.
Okay, that's not bad.
Yeah.
Oh, you're blushing. Oh my god.
I know.
Scott, does yours have a name?
No, I don't. I haven't named it.
You have to have a name. You have to have a nickname. Let's come up with one right now.
Oh God! Oh my God!
Scott Jr.
Oh my God! I guess.
Scott's
Name it after
freaking
your
out.
favorite wrestler.
My favorite wrestler. I like Dean Ambrose.
Who?
Dean Ambrose and Damien Sandow, but they released Damien Sandow today. He's one of my favorite wrestlers.
So name it after him.
Okay, I'll do that.
All right, listen. Sarah, let me jump in here before you give Scott a heart attack over there. I've never seen Scott turn so red in my entire life. But good question, Sarah. I think people Scott. I think the people want to know the size of your wiener. I think that was a legitimate question. Do you agree?
I guess.
Okay, Dylan, Vince Russo here. How you doing, my friend?
Good, man. Good.
Dylan, you mind if I ask you a couple questions?
Oh, definitely. Go right ahead.
Now, first of all, I asked Sarah how you became how you got to be a guest on this show, and she said that you were following her.
Not like following me, like stalking me.
Not like
following. Yeah, follow. Okay, Dylan, let me ask you this first.
Well,
So,
he's in Boston tonight, so maybe he is following me.
no, Dylan, now you're a single guy, right?
My fiance Ray Lynn. I have a fiance actually.
And you're following a lingerie model, Dylan?
Hey, keep this on the down low, man. Don't.
Yeah, no,
don't,
but let's keep this between us. Dylan, I gotta ask you this question though, bro, because I think you've done some, and bro, this is a great story to tell. Bro, there's a lot of guys in your spot. You're very young, Dylan. You got a lot of years ahead of you, to build your wrestling career. But one thing I was noticing, Dylan, like you somehow built a huge following on Twitter, which is great. I mean, bro, having a good social media following is very important. But Dylan, I have to ask you this: is this something that, like, I love the way that you picked up on the Bieber thing. That was very smart. That was a good angle. That was a good hook for you. But, bro, you mean to tell me that, like, his family just started following you, or did you kind of try to persuade them to follow you?
Yeah.
You see? Dylan, walk me through that, bro. Because here's what I tell a lot of guys your age, bro. So many guys your age, they want to be wrestlers. They love wrestling. They want to break into the business. But, bro, let's face it. Like, you've seen one, you've seen 100. So, Dylan, like I tell everybody, you got to have a hook. You got to have that gimmick. You got to have something that makes you different and stand out. It seems to me you've done a great job doing this. So walk me through the process so people watching this can understand how they separate themselves from the pack.
Right. So actually, I'd say about 5 years ago, right before I started this whole character and this whole run at social media, I didn't really even have a Twitter account. And my friend Jesse Goddard's, he's in TNA. We lived together, we were roommates, and he's like, bro, you gotta get like social media. I'm like, I know. So I made all my social media accounts. I'm like, dude, this is so easy. I can gain followers every day. So what I was doing was I was following and unfollowing wrestling fans. So I built up and follow somebody that had a following or was somebody important. They would see my following and be like, oh, this guy might be somebody. So when I was, researching Justin Bieber and like going through his Twitter account, whatever, I came across a tweet where he had tweeted his brother and sister and said like he missed him or whatever, and I didn't know he had a brother and sister. So I thought, oh man, I wonder if his sister's hot, which, I clicked on her account, and obviously she was a little kid, so I'm like, oh no. And she was only following 4 people, so I'm like, oh, let's see who she's following. So I click on it, and I see this lady named Erin Wagner, which I was like, oh man, she's pretty hot. So I click on it and I just follow her, not even like thinking about it, just follow her, whatever. And probably a day or two went by and I see this person's following me, and I'm like, who is that? I'm like, she's hot. So I like click on her and I'm like, no, this can't be. Like, she had followed me back and she had like a ton of followers. I'm like, this can't be the real one. So I went back to his page, clicked on his sister's page and clicked on her, and I was like, sure enough, she's following me. And I never ever said anything to her. I kind of like let it sink in or whatever, and just one day she started tweeting me out of nowhere, and then we had a conversation, and then just went from there. But that's how I got them to follow me.
Well, who is that, Dylan? Who is Erin Wagner?
That is Justin Bieber's brother and sister's mother.
Wow, man, this is brilliant, Dylan.
Yeah.
This is calculating. This is what guys. This is why it's important that you share this. So go on with the story.
Yeah. So then, after I built like a friendship online through her. Then she got some of my pro wrestling T-shirts and she posted it on Instagram, which helps on Instagram and Twitter. Which actually, it pretty much told everybody, oh man, this is like the real deal. Like, his brother and sister's mom's really posting pictures in Dylan Bostic's T-shirt. Like, what the hell, But then he followed me, and then all of his friends that he's close to follows me and stuff like that. But then I still follow. I have like a filter on my system that if anybody back or if they're like a spam account or they're not active, my Twitter account will automatically unfollow them. So I'm still following people every day that are not following me. So I'm still every day gaining more of a following. So I still do that. Then I also have friends in MMA like King Mo with Bellator. He's one of my good friends. Pat McAfee from the Indianapolis Colts. He's one of my close friends, and he's one of the biggest stars for the Indianapolis Colts. He's really, really popular. So with all those guys like putting me over all the time, it helps my following and helps me grow more and more every day. So.
Now, hey Sarah, you see what he's doing here? Are you doing that? Are you working Twitter that way to further your career?
Absolutely. I follow everybody. Like, I look up the words like wrestling, comedian, and then I follow them. And anyone who's not following back, like, I just unfollow them. I'm not following like 100,000 people like he is, though. Like, I'm not there yet.
Sarah, who are some of the famous people that follow you?
Oh, I have like a lot that follow me.
Well, drop a couple names. Let's go. Put yourself over. Give me a couple names.
I don't know. There's a lot. Chris Kattan, friends with him. I don't know. There's just like a lot. Like, there's too many to mention.
Scott, who are some big shooters following you? Who are some big deals following you, Scott?
You Brooke Tessmacher is now following me on Twitter.
Hey, let me ask you this, Scott. Did you get a birthday greeting from Brooke Tessmacher?
Yes.
And who do you think you could thank for that?
You, thank you, Vince.
Me.
Thank you.
You know who else gave him a birthday shout out was I actually called into Michael Rappaport's show and got him a shout out, but the episode isn't out yet.
Scott, you got a shout out from Rappaport?
Yes. Thanks, Sarah.
Actually, his friend said his co-host said he might want to do the show in a few weeks.
Co-host of what? What, they have a podcast?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Michael Rappaport has his own podcast.
Hey, Scott, have you ever thought about naming your penis Michael Rappaport? I mean, that might be something, Scott. Then the guy might see that you really care about him.
Horrible.
No, all right, I'm sorry, Scott. You're turning red again. Dylan, I think that's brilliant, bro. Good for you, bro, because not a lot of guys go that extra. That's brilliant, bro. What gave you that idea? What made a lot of guys would never understand that. What made you understand I got to make myself stand out here?
Well, training with Rip, and that's what he preaches. What everybody else is doing, do the exact opposite.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Anything you can do to stand out, that's what you need to do. And if you have a following, that's what's going to sell merchandise. That's what's going to sell tickets. So I knew this is what I got to do because nobody else is putting me over. If WWE is not going to put me over on the internet and get me a following, TNA is not going to put me over and get me a following, then I've got to go out and get it myself. And all these guys that are like indie wrestlers that have like 5,000 followers or 2,000 followers, it's like, dude, you need to get yourself going. You need to get your social media up, and you need to let people know that you have a social media and gain a following. Because if you're not, the only person's fault is yourself, pretty much. But that's pretty much it. So
Dylan, let me get this straight, because this happens to me sometimes, and I'll tell you how I know this, Dylan. I always go back at I don't like when I'm following somebody and they're not following me. So like I'll always go back. Yeah, I'll always go back and like unfollow people like that. Yeah. I don't like that. So what do you do now? So you'll follow people. How does it work again? Explain it to me, Dylan.
It's actually called Manage Filter or Flitter. It's a website. So it's got like a programming app. So basically, you don't have to go through and figure out who's not following you or who unfollowed you. It already knows. So I have like little filters set up on this app on my computer. So anytime I have some spare time, I get on there and I'm like, oh, these people aren't following me. All right, well, you're gone. Because I mean, and the thing is, if you don't want to follow somebody back, whatever. But my biggest pet peeve is, all right, you're in the wrestling business and you're an indie wrestler. And you're not over, why aren't you following every wrestler back? Because that could be a potential booking. That could be a potential, furthering your wrestling career. That could be anything.
Yeah, I wonder
you should always follow
when people don't follow back. Because they're in the same industry. Why wouldn't they follow?
Exactly. I'm like,
so Dylan, now are you doing like the full-fledged Bieber gimmick?
Oh yeah, all the way, 100%. My promos always have a couple 2 hooks, 1 lines that always get nuclear heat. Because I always introduce myself as Justin Bieber of professional wrestling, Dylan Bostic, and then I always tell the fans they need to show me the same respect that they would show Justin Bieber, and that's all I have to say. Nuclear heat.
You probably need to grow your hair out a little bit at this point, no?
Oh, I got it long.
Oh, you got it tied back then, Dylan.
Yeah, it's back. And actually, Bieber the other day decided he was going to buzz his head off, so now he's all short-haired.
Oh, okay, so now you're okay. Sarah, Scott, you have any more questions for Dylan?
Yeah. So I saw some of your photos, and you have a really nice body. Would you mind taking your shirt off and showing it off?
You pervert!
All right, 1 second. I have to put my phone down.
Okay.
All right.
Scott, what about you? You want to join in?
Scott, would you like to take your shirt off?
No.
Well, my
No.
shirt's off.
Her shirt's off, Scott. No good?
And I'm kind of feeling
What
uncomfortable
about
doing
you?
that.
All right, he's uncomfortable. Scott's uncomfortable. Show. Okay, look, there he is. Look, you got him. Go. What do you think,
Come on,
Sarah?
Scott, where you at?
Oh, that's pretty nice. Hang on. Show me again. Wow, okay. Do you have abs?
Maybe not today, but I ate some cheeseburgers last night.
So you're not a vegetarian then?
No, I eat a lot of meat.
But you look good.
Thank you.
Dylan,
Appreciate
you're 21 years old, huh?
24. Yeah.
24. How long you been? So you're engaged?
Yep, engaged to
How long-
Raylan.
How is she a wrestler?
Yeah, she's a wrestler. Yep.
How long you been engaged for?
Well, technically, I think 2 months, but we've been talking about it for quite some time.
Oh, okay. So you're newly engaged.
Yeah, we're newly engaged.
Now, bro, you're out of. Correct me if I'm wrong. Are you out of Indianapolis?
I'm from Indianapolis, but now I've been living in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania for a couple
Okay,
years.
but you're still working for OVW?
No, I haven't been working for them in about 2 years.
Okay, so why the transition to Pittsburgh? What's in Pittsburgh?
So she's from here, and it's kind of a midway point. So we can go anywhere. We can go up to Canada. We can come here to Boston. West. We can go south. It's a pretty good middle point to traveling and stuff, which IWC runs there, and that's one of the main promotions that I do. It's a pretty good promotion. But yeah, we've just been trying to travel out and get in front of as many fans as we possibly can, because OVW was good exposure, but I pretty much got what I could get out of it.
Yeah.
So now we're trying to get out more.
So I'm assuming you guys live together then.
Yep, we've lived together for about 2 years.
Now, Dylan, can Jesse help you out with TNA? What's going on there?
So I was actually there about a month ago or 2 months ago. I have a lot of friends because he was TNA developmental there, and they actually got me down there. I had a dark match, and I don't think that they quite got the Justin Bieber thing or like the following thing, because they were like, well, you need to get bigger. I'm like, well, Justin Bieber's not big. Why would I be bigger? That's actually why I'm trying to get bigger right now. To get I'm like,
bro, can I ask you a question? I don't know if you. I don't want. If you can't answer this, don't answer it.
Okay.
Okay. Who said that to you?
Well, everybody wanted me to get a job, including Dixie Carter. It came down to being Big's decision, and he told a friend of mine in the office, which I'm not going to say name, he told a friend of mine to give me a job right then and there. And I was like, well, that's kind of funny, but all right, whatever. So
see, bro, that's what I have a hard time with, man. The fact that you have a full-fledged gimmick and a full-fledged character, getting bigger doesn't matter. It just that's so ridiculous. Now I could understand, bro, if you walked in like Dylan Bostic, here I am, and you look like 50 other guys. I get it, bro. Okay, get bigger, be bigger than the other guys, and you'll stand out. I get that. but you're walking in the back door with a freaking gimmick. Hey, bro, I know a way back in the day because I made fun of him forever. Jeremy Borash literally went to a Justin Bieber concert in Nashville, and I ripped him for years. Did you talk to Jeremy when you were down there?
Yeah. Jeremy Borash, he's really cool. He's one of my buddies' good friends, and he came and hung out and had beers with us. He was cool.
Jeremy had to love the gimmick, no?
He loved the gimmick. Everybody did. It was just and he doesn't understand that I get heat being lean and a cocky lean guy, because then it's like, oh, I hate that guy. You know what I mean? They just want to see me get my ass whooped. But I don't think he quite understood that. And then they're like, well, we can't do the Bieber thing, so how about you do a pop star gimmick? I'm like, well, that's not why Bieber has heat. Like, that's not what it is. I don't think they quite understood the character. I think they got it, but
does Bieber have a nickname?
Swaggy, which actually I was ready to change my name to Swaggy D.
Yeah, that's all you had. That's it. That's the answer to the problem. People that know Bieber will know it's a takeoff. Bro, that's why I get so upset and frustrated sometimes with TNA that I don't get it. Bro, keep doing what you're doing because somebody's gonna notice, bro.
Yeah, that's all I gotta do. So I don't know. We'll see. Whenever I go back, my buddy told me just put on the size, go back, do the tryout again, hopefully get a job, and then just cut my weight again. Yeah,
I got you. Scott, any more questions for Dylan?
What else do you like to do besides wrestling?
Well, I like to drink a lot of beer. No, I'm just kidding. Well, okay, yeah, I do. I drink a lot of beer. No, I like to watch sports. I'm a big basketball fan. I like fitness, obviously. Yeah, I'd say watch sports and drink beer.
Who's your basketball team, Dylan?
I'm from Indiana. You know how the Hoosiers are about their basketball. But I would say the Pacers, but really they disappointed me in this playoffs. Paul George did everything, and supposedly Paul George is leaving, but I don't see that happening. I don't think the Pacers are going to let him leave because he's got a couple years left on his contract. But I would definitely say the Pacers. But right now I'm cheering for Cleveland just because they're the other best team in the East, and I don't want to see the West win. Even though everybody loves Golden State Warriors, I don't want to see them win.
Yeah. Dylan, I actually lived in Indiana. I went to college in Evansville, Indiana, so I actually lived in Indiana for 3 years. So I get the whole Hoosier thing. Trust me.
Oh yeah.
You probably were. I'm sure you worked a show or two in Evansville, right?
Yeah, actually, when I wrestled Ryback for SmackDown, I was in Evansville.
How'd that go?
It went really well. It was funny, like the day of, William Regal was giving this speech about, cutting promos and stuff. He's like, whatever's the most embarrassing thing that you could ever be asked to do, you should practice that because then it won't be embarrassing to you. He's like, but you'll never get asked that here in WWE. That'll never happen. And literally after he said that, I was literally thinking, oh, well, probably like singing or dancing would be like the most embarrassing thing I could be asked to do. And the writer came up to me and was like, hey, here's your promo. You're actually going to be doing a rap. And I was like, what? Like, that literally just happened to me. But it went really well. It was a good experience, something that not a lot of people even get to experience. But I had a really good time.
How was working with Ryback? Was that cool?
Yeah, it was cool. He really respected me just because I was an OVW guy, and he knew a lot of my friends, and they were all like putting me over to him, like, oh, he's great, like, you'll be fine, whatever. So he was really respectful towards me, so I think that helped a lot.
That's cool. Sarah, any last questions for Dylan?
Yeah, Dylan, one of your fans asked me if you had any stories about you and Billy Gunn.
Well, that match actually happens tomorrow, so I don't have any story yet. I worked the show, I wrestled a show like 8 years ago with him, but I don't really remember too much of it. I think he was just real quiet. But I've heard a lot of great stories. I know he's doing a lot of shows in Indiana, so I texted a few of my friends just to ask how he was since I'm working with him tomorrow. but they all said he's like really great dude.
Yeah, Billy's a great guy, bro. That'll be a good that'll be a real good learning experience for you, bro. He's a real good guy.
You had a lot of
Yeah,
fans
definitely.
tweeting me questions. Is there any question that you wanted to answer that I haven't asked you?
You know, the only one that really stood out to me was the dick question.
Yeah, that was
that was
the one too.
Scott, do you want to talk about the size of your penis again, bro?
No,
Yeah, let's talk
No,
about
you don't
it.
want nothing to do with that. No.
no.
All right, I'm
Did
sorry.
you figure
Scott.
out
All
the
right.
name yet?
Yeah, he said he was going to name him Michael Rappaport, right, Scott?
I guess.
Is that what you
yeah.
said?
I
No.
guess, yeah.
Okay, there you go, Michael Rappaport. All right. Well, Dylan, listen, I'm gonna let these two kids wrap it up. But I want to thank you for coming on the show, bro. I think what you're doing is brilliant. I think what you're doing is smart. I think you are a step above all your competition. Unfortunately, I don't think TNA was smart enough to see that, which, in my opinion, is why they're in the spot they're in. But keep doing what you're doing, bro. I think you're doing an amazing job.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
No problem. Go ahead, Sarah and Scott. Go ahead, wrap it up with Dylan.
Where can we find you on social media besides Twitter?
So my Facebook, I actually just made a new. I had a little problem with my other like page, so it's new, but it's Bostic. I also have a website. It's platinumworldtour.com. Then my Instagram is just Dylan Bostic, DYLAN BOSTIC.
Dylan, thank you so much for doing this interview. You were a great guest, and I liked seeing you with your shirt off.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you. Thanks for tuning in this week, guys.